Hey YouTube, take two. First one ran out of battery before I got the video done. So we're going to talk about why the electric doesn't fit some people very well, and the different types of bikes, and the comparison, say, my fit on the Trek and then the fit on the XP and the step through. First of all, the step through and the XP are the same length as far as from seat post to head tube. They're the same length, so it really doesn't matter which one you buy as far as fit, unless you have problems lifting your leg. Here's a simple rule: if you can't lift your leg up to waist high, then you shouldn't consider the XP, and you should go straight to the step through, regardless of what your feelings are and what's a traditional man's bike and what's a woman's bike. Traditionally, a woman's bike in the upper end of the spectrum, or even the mid end, is fitted or sized accordingly for a woman. We tend to have different measurements than men do. So we're going to talk about the different types of bikes and which one is best suited for distance riding, short distance riding. And for most people, the electric XP is fitted well for 10 to 15 miles, but beyond that you're going to be uncomfortable. I've done ultra distance bike riding. I've ridden, crossed. I rode from, I think the longest I ever rode was, I rode from Pullman, Washington to Montana, to Glacier National Park, and I didn't ride and camp. We rode in camp. My mom and dad went ahead in their fifth wheel, and I rode my bike to wherever they were camping for the night. So we'll look at the first bike. This is a city bike. More uprighted seating position. Notice the handlebars are pointed towards the seat, so you have a upright seated position. It's going to be more upright. You're not going to be bent over. Less weight on your hands, so if you have problems with your hands going to sleep, this would be a bike suited for you. And it's just an uprighted seating position. The downsides of an uprighted seating position is, on this bike there's no suspension, so you're going to feel every bump right through your spine, whereas some of the bumps would be displaced evenly between your hands and your seat. On a traditional bike, this one's going to have more shock going into your rear end. Likewise, you're going to feel uncomfortable in long rides because of the weight being on your rear end. Now, seat plays a role here too. A man's seat and a woman's seat, there is a difference. Some people, if I sit here and talked about what I've seen on the forums, I've seen everything from what should be on a chair seat on a bike. For a man, it just don't make any sense, because what people don't realize is, a lot of people don't realize, is men and women carry their weight differently when they sit on a chair or on a bike seat. A woman's going to be more comfortable if she's sitting on her soft parts, where a man's going to be more comfortable with the bony parts. So a woman's seat needs to be wide in the back and short in the front. So a short front and a wide back, where a man's seat needs to be long in the front and narrow in the back. So there's the differences, and you can see it on some bikes, and some bikes you can't. There's hybrid seats. A lot of those out there are hybrids. They don't do anything well. but they're comfortable for a few miles. So this bike is kind of like the electric. The only problem is the electric tries to mix these. Typically it would be called a hybrid. This is a mountain bike, and this is a city bike, but it isn't a hybrid. They took some of the measurements of a mountain bike and put it on this and said, we'll make it's no longer a city bike, and it's not a mountain bike either. And this shows these got big wheels on it. This is would typically be a 700C wheel size, or a 29-inch for some of you will call it that. And it's going to be a narrow tire, because you don't need big fat tires in the city for most part. And why the electric's trying to make both of these is this distance from here to here on the electric is longer than it is on a typical city or a hybrid. It's closer to what it would be on a road bike. They made the frame long because they tried to make the bike fit everybody, and you can't do that. One size does not fit all, never has and never will. But the only thing you can do is try to make it fit you, and that's going to cost you some money to change out parts, but that's just the nature of the beast. It's a good value, great bike for the price. It's just it's not going to fit everybody well. So the next bike we'll talk about is the mountain bike. You can buy electric mountain bikes just like you can buy electric road bikes too. The mountain bike has a longer top tube. It's less of an upright seating position. You're bent over more. Weight is balanced more. And if you were on a mountain bike that's set up straight up and down, you would be hurting after a mile or two on those rough trails. So you can adjust the seat, where your hands are, by making the stem shorter, whereas on the electric it's set. Only you can do is turn the handlebars around, and the stem around, and I do not recommend that. That stem is not designed well enough to be used in a manner that it wasn't designed for. Sorry people, you're just waiting to have an accident. You just don't realize it if you've got your stem turned around. So you can get a shorter stem for a mountain bike, and it's going to have anywhere from 26 to 29-inch wheels. The difference is the bigger the wheel, the easier it is to roll over things on the trail. Rocks, stumps, roots, and stuff like that. So a bigger wheel is always better on a trail bike. That's why the electric XP and electric step-through are never designed to be mountain bikes. That 20-inch tire just does not do well off-road because of how hard it is to roll over stuff. Example is we have a trail crossing that's always it's on a dirt road that's always plowed, and there's a lip there. To get the XP over the lip is tough sometimes, whereas the 29-inch tire on our Trek e-bike is easy, just rolls right over it like it isn't there. I ain't going to tell you that it isn't a bump, but what I'm telling you is it's easier to get that bike to roll over it. So that's the main difference. Is this is going to be a more bent over riding position. It's designed to take more shock in your arms than on your butt. Seat wise, it's going to be the same. It doesn't really matter what kind of bike it is. The seats are men and women's, and I ain't going to tell you there's one seat specifically designed for every rider, but you don't. If you have a favorite seat that works well on your city bike, you could use it on your mountain or your road bike. But that's what this is designed for. Mountain bike, off trail. It does okay on the road and on paved surfaces, but it's not designed for that, but it does okay. Road bike. Now, there's variations of all three of these bikes, but this is a road bike. This is designed for on-road paved surfaces or hard surface. It has multiple hand positions, and it's going to be a riding position similar to what a mountain bike is, but even more leaned over. Long distance riding is designed to be comfortable over long distances, and that's why you have multiple hand positions. You can put your hands here, you can put them on the hoods, and you can put them on the flats of the bar. So you can sit upright if you want to, or you can lean over farther if you want to. I always used to ride my road bike on the hoods because that was the most comfortable position for me. Wheel size is going to be 700C traditionally. There is 26-inch wheels, but they're typically reserved for triathlon. And the whole idea behind a smaller wheel is it spins up faster. You can get your bike rolling faster, but it loses an advantage once you get to speed. At speed, the bigger wheel is going to maintain that momentum and easier to keep at speed than a 26-inch wheel. So, I mean, they all have their advantages and disadvantages, but the 700 or 29-inch, actually in Europe they call it a 28-inch, but here people call it 29, but it's a 700C wheel size, and it typically has thin tires and does well on road. They make gravel bikes that are shaped like this too, that are designed for gravel. The only difference is they have a wider rim and tire. Maybe all these bikes are going to have disc brakes for the most part anymore. So those are the bike types that were the main ones. To find one that fits you, it depends on your situation, your health situation, or your body situation. The best place to start is always going to be at a reputable bike shop and get measured and fitted for a bike, and then find out what size you need. Mountain bikes are typically measured in inches, from 12 to 22 inches. Road bikes are typically measured in centimeters, I think I've seen them as low as 46 centimeters and as high as 65 centimeters. You can convert that to inches. I think they go as high as 24 inches. And road bikes, and in the city bike, these are typically measured small, medium, large, or extra small, extra large, that kind of size. But typically there is an inch size somewhere on the bike too, so if you're looking for that, I would call the lectric a large. The seat post will go way down, and you can ride it if you have pretty short legs, but your problem isn't going to be in how the seat post works. It's going to be in how stretched out you are on the seat. It is, in fact, a very stretched out bike. My Trek Medium is about an inch to 2 inches, inch and a half to 2 inches shorter than the electric is as far as distance from seat tube to handlebar. So that's a medium. And if I compared it to a large on the Trek, the electric would be the frame, the distance from the handlebar to the seat post would be closer to a large. So I've seen lots of people on the forums, Facebook forums, that have taken their handlebar stem and turned it around. Like I said, I don't recommend it. A lot of the Chinese bikes manufactured in China are marginal engineering, meaning they only made it to survive in a certain way in a certain situation, and that it may not do well. The fat tires have an advantage on the electric. They're a little softer ride, especially if you don't have them filled up to the maximum pressure. They do a little better. I've noticed that if I can do videos on the electric with a camera and it still be semi-usable, whereas with the Trek it's pretty bad. It's hard to get a good video on it. Still trying to figure that out, but I have all kinds of camera equipment. I have the Osmo. Yeah, is it an Osmo? Yeah, I think it's the Osmo 3. It's a handheld deal for your cell phone. And when it's on the Trek, it won't work. So I'm hoping that the weather will warm up here in a while and I'll be able to get that wheel maintenance video done that I've been promising for a couple years. Take the back wheel apart and clean it and re-grease the gearing in there so that it's ready for another 2,500 miles. But the bike fit is a tough subject. If you go into a bike shop that's only selling bikes that have one size, they're going to tell you one size fits all. It isn't true, but that's the way they sell their bikes. Maybe sometime in the future Electric will consider making different size bikes, but at this point it's just not in the numbers. They're not selling enough bikes to make different sized within the same deal. And with the manufacturing problems that China's having right now, China's just as shut down in their economy because of COVID we will be, as unfortunate as that may be, I think we're all going to be right back where we were 2 years ago. Not this time the government is going to be shutting us down. It's going to be industry itself. They're just not going to be able to get the stuff they need to do the work they have to do. So the electrics, or the bikes are out in the garage, the batteries are in the house. That's where they're going to stay until I get a decent day that I can go out and ride, and so far we haven't had none in the next week. It has to be at least 39 degrees for me to ride, a little warmer for Karen, but hey, it hasn't been warm enough for anybody to ride lately. If you have any questions or comments, put them in down there in the comment section. I'll get back to them. I thought I'd just do a video and talk about bike fit and what you can do to get your electric to fit better. Is you're limited, but there's still options out there. If you have a specific question about what you can do to make it fit you better, put it in the comments and I'll answer them at that time. I'm not going to go into the possibilities right now, but if you have any questions, put them in the comments. Have a great day. Hope to see you soon.